I am kind of annoyed because my tripod ring light just stopped working. So I'm gonna have to film like here because it's like the only thing I could like think of in front of my lamp. That's tragic. So I'm going to be doing my wrap up. I think I read like 15 books this month. I'm also going to be doing a haul. So also I'm sorry if my attitude just is not there, but I'm just really annoyed that, and then also my mom is listening to her church music, so that's also in the background. Goodreads is taking forever. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I technically read 14, but we're not gonna talk about that book I read because it's by a problematic author. So if you can put 2 and 2 together, then yeah. So the first book I read in November was It by Stephen King. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really love this book. I think it might be my top favorite Stephen King book, but I think it's because I love the movie so much that my nostalgia and love for the book, like my nostalgia and love for the movie, like overcompensates for my love for the book, you know. I love Derry. Derry's one of my favorite Stephen King towns, so I loved reading about Derry. And if you didn't know, one of my favorite things about reading Stephen King is that his books all take place in the same multiverse or the same universe, so some of his characters cross over a lot. And because I didn't think that it would have any connection to other books, but it has a connection to a lot of other books, so I decided to read this one so then I can move on to the other ones. So I read another Stephen King book. I personally really like this book. The only thing that stopped me from liking it was constant use of the N-word, because I personally think that it is the only Stephen King book that is reasonably as long as it is. Like, this book being 1,000 pages makes so much sense because they're following the history of between, like, you know, kids and adults, and it's going, you know, back and forth. So that made sense to me. So it being 1,000 pages made sense, but it was the fact that the N-word was used so much. I just don't know if I'll ever be able to rate it 5 stars fully because of that. So then I read Her Soul to Revenge, and this is the sequel to Her Soul to Take. This book I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I just did not like the couple as much as I liked the first couple. This book is about, it follows after the second book, so it kind of follows the same timeline. So it's about this girl who is being sacrificed, and this demon comes to save her. So now they're like working together against the people that you can't even see my cute outfit from this angle. So like the demon that saves her, he is now working with her to figure out, like, you know, basically what's going on and to kill the guy that tried to sacrifice her. So it was okay. I just didn't really care about their romance. And then I read Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. And so everyone has been talking about this book, and I'm like, okay, well, how good could this freaking book be? Because it's so short, y'all. This book is that good. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. This book, I don't want to say too much about it because nobody who reads this book doesn't say too much about it, and that's a good thing. So this book is about this girl who is trying to sell this apple peeler online, and this other person ends up acquiring for it, and they end up spreading emails, and they kind of form a relationship, and it just gets crazy. I really wish I could talk about my thoughts because I have such thoughts about the ending. And I think that I really like novellas because novellas have kind of become my thing this year. Like, one of my favorite novellas is House at the Bottom of the Lake so far this year, and this definitely is up there. This might be my favorite book of the year. I don't know, I freaking love this book. Like, it was so spooky. I wish I could talk more in depth about how I feel, but that would be teetering on the spoiler line. So, and then I read The Love Hypothesis, which I also gave 5 out of 5 stars. This book, I just ate this book up. I was kind of scared going into it because I knew it was like a Raylo fan fiction, but I also knew it would be good because the fan fiction to romance pipeline is so thin. I think me, like, if I were to become an author, I would probably become an author through fan fiction because those books eat, and I feel like people are being less embarrassed about reading books that were previous fan fictions. I personally really like this book. This book is about this girl who is in STEM, and she's in STEM, and she's trying to convince her best friend that she's not still in love with her ex-boyfriend because her best friend wants to date him, and she doesn't really care about him. Like, she doesn't really have like those kind of feelings against him. So her best friend ends up like walking in on her, and she like immediately kisses Adam, and Adam's the guy in school that like nobody likes. Like, everybody hates him. He is an a-hole, and so he's a professor, but he's not her professor. and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was so cute. I thought it was good. Trigger warning for sexual assault, I will say that. I knew that going into this book. Like, Jocelyn, we were on FaceTime and she told me about the scene, so I knew that going into this book, so I was more prepared for that to happen. And so I realized that a lot of people, obviously, like, a lot of people wouldn't know, but I realized a lot of people didn't know that that happens in this book. And so I just wanted to let anybody who hasn't read this yet, who wants to read it, to know that, just in case, so it doesn't, like, you know, trigger them or anything. I thought this book was fun. It was cute and it was a good time. I then read Needful Things by Stephen King. I gave this one 3 stars. Mr. Gaunt is 1/6 son of a bitch. Okay, so this book takes place in Castle Rock, and it is about this shop called Needful Things that has anything that you need, and all you have to do is pay a price for it. So basically, this book is about how far people will go for the things that they want and to keep the things that they want. And so I enjoyed it, but it just was kind of boring and it dragged on, and it wasn't like as good as I thought it was gonna be. It was like, I think I thought a lot more was gonna happen than it did, and so I didn't like this book as much as I wanted to. Like, this is a lot of people's favorite Stephen King books, but like, this one just did not do it for me, and I don't know why. But I still enjoyed it. Like I said, the Mr. Guy is like one of my favorite villains so far. That man is sick and twisted, and I like that. I then read The Party Crasher, which is a second chance romance, and I read it for a second chance romance recommendation I want to do soon. So this one is about this girl who, the book starts off, first of all, the book starts off on Christmas, so you know, if you kind of want a Christmassy feel, it's not a Christmas book, but it starts off on Christmas. Highly recommend this. So this one starts off on Christmas, and it's about this girl who, her parents just got divorced and they're selling her childhood house. So of course she's very distraught, and it follows a few years after that, and her parents got divorced. Yeah, it follows that. And then her dad is also dating this young, like, tenderoni. I don't know why I just said that. He's dating like this young girl, and the main character does not like her, and his new girlfriend is like kind of like mean to her and passive aggressive, and like nobody wants to believe it, and her family just isn't like together as much as they were. She goes to this house and her ex-boyfriend is there, and you also read about their romance because it follows like kind of the past and the present a little bit. So her ex-boyfriend is there, and I just love second chance romance. Like, it's just so good. Like, he was like her longest, like her long time love, like her first love and her first heartbreak, and the way they broke up, and it was really good. Also, this one takes place in England, so I read this entire book with a British accent, and that was fun for me. And it's not a romance book, it's more of like a chick lit, or like whatever the book's called that aren't romance books that focus on women. It like has a dysfunctional family, which I love dysfunctional families, and it focuses more on the family than it does the romance, but also the romance was really good too. But I definitely love like the dysfunctional family, and book had family drama, and Ellie is the main character, and that's the main character, but she's also the main character like for real. Like, she literally she was childish, which I found that entertaining. You know, not every person has to be like reasonable, and like, you know, she had like her character development, so it was fine. I didn't mind that she was childish. And like I said, she hated the stepmom, and whenever a character I read hates like another character, I hate them too. Like, they could like not even have a reasonable reason to hate that character, and I'm gonna hate them too because the main character says so, so I do. So then I read the Maidman series. So I read The Sweetest Oblivion, which I gave 4 stars. I read The Maddest Obsession, which I gave 5 stars. And I gave the Darkest Temptation, which I gave 3 stars. So The Sweetest Oblivion, the first book, it follows Nico and Elena. And that book was good. Like, my friends were saying like, oh, the first book isn't that good, the second book is really good. The first book was good to me. It was 4 stars. It was like, you know, it was good. It's about Elena, who has an arranged marriage, and her sister has an arranged marriage, and Elena, she's kind of like, oh, I love her, she's so girly, she loves pink, like, she has long pretty hair. Her sister starts off being engaged to a guy, Nico, and Elena, I don't think Elena is engaged in the beginning, or she might be, but she basically ran away with the love of her life. And reading the book when she's already back and all that stuff, she's been back for a while, but so it's hard to explain, but basically Nico and Elena they basically start up a romance, even though he's getting engaged to her sister, and it's a mafia romance. I should have said that first. And so it follows their romance, which I love, and then you follow The Maddest Obsession, which is Christian and Gianna, and they are everything to me. Like, I love boys who are obsessed, and this book, I'm gonna do a boys who are obsessed recommendation, so don't even worry. And this book definitely gave me exactly that. Like, he was obsessed with her. Like, it was just so, it was so good. And she, like, they had like their own, like, both of the characters were mentioned in the first book, but you don't see their romance. And basically he is like literally obsessed with her. Like, he literally is going to therapy to get over her, and or just to talk about his obsession with her. And he, like, they end up, like, it follows two different timelines. So the first timeline, like, they end up like hooking up or whatever, and he ends up going away for like a few years, and then he comes back and she's already married to somebody else. So he's like, I don't know, the way he treats her, he's like so obsessed with her, but he's also like, oh, like, you know, pretty girls always get what they want. The same thing in the first book. Like, Nico did not want to be in love with Elena because he's like, you know, she has all these guys falling at her feet, I'm not gonna be one of them. And what was he? One of them. And in this book she also had it. I think Danielle Laurie has an obsession with the male characters having an obsession with their female characters' hair. And then you follow the third book, The Darkest Temptation, which is Ronan, who is Christian's brother. And this one was okay. Like I said, I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. A lot of people like don't like Ronan. They say he's too insane. I liked Ronan. The main character was the one that annoyed me. Like, her name was Mila. So annoying. Like, in the first 2 books, the banter and the comebacks were so good, and then in this book it's like her comebacks weren't good. It felt like you were listening to a 12-year-old give comebacks to people. Like, it just wasn't hitting like it should have been. And then I read the Dirty Air series. So I read book 1, 2, and 3. I didn't read book 4, but book 1 I gave 3 stars. It was okay. This series is about, they're not street racers, but it's about racers kind of similar to NASCAR. And the first girl, she is the sister to the guy that her brother is rivaling. So she's falling in love with her brother's rival, basically. And so it follows that. And the dialogue was so corny in this book. Like, I literally could not get through it. And someone like the description, not the description, but you know, the words that aren't dialogue, like some of the stuff that they think and stuff were just so corny. I literally could not. Overheated as expected. So I don't even know where I was, but basically I read Collided, which is the second book. So it follows the best friend of the main character in the first book, and then one of like the other like racers. And it follows, she is a daughter of like the guy's like manager, kind of. I don't know, I don't really understand it, but yeah, their romance, she had like a list of like things she wanted to do before whatever. I don't like list books. I discovered I do not care. Like, watching someone go through a list of things is so boring, because it's like, okay, like, I know what you're gonna do. Like, you know, it's just so predictable is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And then I read Wrecked. Now this one I gave 4 stars. I loved Wrecked. This one was about this girl who's a PR manager and one of the other guys, and she has to live with him because this man is so reckless that he's always getting in trouble. And their romance is so good. Like, the banter was good. Like, it was just, I loved it so much. I didn't read the 4th book because I thought the 4th book had a black girl in it, and it did not. So I've been bamboozled. So I'm gonna not read it out of spite, because I don't care. Then lastly, I read Twisted Love, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Now, I did love this book, but the issues I had with it kind of overshadowed how I felt about the book. So basically, this book is about this girl whose brother is going out of town for a year. So her brother ends up asking his best friend to stay in his house and look over his sister for that year, and they end up sparking up a romance. So I liked it, but it ended up, I liked it, but a romance, I feel like the romance moved too fast, and I'm the kind of person where once a couple gets together, I don't care about the romance anymore. So they didn't end up getting together. I did care about the romance, but I also ended up getting bored at some point. Also, it kind of got dark out of nowhere. I won't say it was out of nowhere, but it was unexpected. Like, it kind of, I want to say that because I saw signs of it. Like, she had like flashbacks of her childhood because something happened, but it just like, you know, it was like bam, and I was just like, oh. Also, I did like some of it, but it, like, they did have really good banter, but I felt like some of the dialogue and the scenes were a bit corny. Like, there's this scene where her ex-boyfriend is like harassing her. He like catches her in the alley and she defends herself, and then the male interest comes out of nowhere, and he's supposed to be like this big bad dude, and he's like punching the dude like, and this is for this, and that's how I pictured it. I'm like, and this is for this, and this is for this, and this is for touching her, and this is for cheating on her. And I'm just like, this is like corny, you know? So yeah, those are all the 14 books I read in November, which was expected. November is my month where I just read fan fiction, and yeah, so now let's get into my haul. So hopefully my stack doesn't fall over, because if it does I will end up crying, because I'm just having one of those days. I have 17 books, so I'm just gonna get into it. So the first two books I have, well, the first three books are Stephen King books, because you know I'm a Stephen King girly now or whatever. So I have different seasons, because I read Rita Hayworth, and The Shawshank Redemption is one of my favorite Stephen King short stories, and I heard this one has really good Stephen King short stories. So it has like Stand By Me, or what is called The Body, which is Stand By Me, which I've never seen that movie a day before in my life, so I don't know. And then it has At Pupil, which I heard is also really good, and then it has The Breathing Method, which I haven't heard good things about, but I heard good things about the other two, and I liked one of them, so I just decided to buy the short story collection. And then I also have the Dark Half, which is about this guy who is a writer, and something happens to where his writer becomes like another personality. The one of the characters he writes becomes another personality, and it starts like killing people, and it's like based off some of the stuff he wrote in his book, so people think it's him. And I don't know, it kind of reminds me of The Outsider, which I really liked by him, so I'm thinking like they'll be similar. And then I have the Dead Zone, which I don't really know what it's about, but I like these paperbacks, and I wanted more edition copies in these paperbacks, because I just wanted it to, I don't know, whatever. And then I have Dark Rise, which is by C.S. Bacot, which I've read her other books, which I won't talk about, but I don't remember what this one is, but I know it's like a fantasy book, and it's like gay, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it, so who cares. Then the next three books I have are Christmas books. So I got The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews. Now, I've never heard anybody talk about this author before on BookTube, but I see her all the time when I'm at Target. Like when I'm in the Target like romance section, I always see her books there. So I decided to check out a book, like, you know, a book that's short, to see if I want to get into her books. Because she had another book I wanted to check out. It was like a good summer book. But yeah, I see her all the time and nobody talks about her. And this one sounds cute. I'm very particular about the Christmas books I want to read, because the other ones are lame, I'm not gonna lie. They all have like, oh, the phone swap, or like the whatever swap, and it's like, I don't care. Then I have Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, which I have started. I'm kind of struggling to get into, but this one is about this girl who is a convict, and she's looking into this window, and this guy sees her, and he's like, you know, she's like, oh, the mannequin's like, she doesn't look like she's satisfied with it, and he's like, what could we do better? And then she wants to hire him. She's an ex-convict. I said that. And it's inspired by Ted Lasso, which I've never seen, so I don't understand how it's inspired by. I've literally never even, I don't know what the show is about, but I've heard about it, but like not a lot, if that makes sense. But it's like Grumpy X Sunshine, but the girl is Grumpy and the guy is Sunshine, which Parks and Rec proves that girl Grumpy and guy Sunshine is the best Grumpy and Sunshine. And then the last one I have is the Mistletoe Pact by, I don't know why I said by, but I have the Mistletoe Pact, which I don't even remember what this one is about. But it didn't sound like any of the other Christmas books that I saw, so I decided to buy it just because it just was different. And then I have Summer of Night. These two books were purchased because I've been reading a lot of books with Brittany, and she reads a lot of like sci-fi, adult fantasy, horror, stuff like that, and I really love her recommendations. So she recommended Summer of Night. She said it was like a Stephen King X book, and it's about these 5 12-year-old boys who forge this bond. I forget how, but it's horror. And also this author is a sci-fi author, so I think if I like this book, I'm gonna go check out his sci-fi books. And then I have Activation Degradation. What was that so hard for me to read? And this one was, like I said, was recommended by Brittany, and she said this one is like, if you like Murderbot series and you'll love this. I love Murderbot, so of course I picked it up. This is an ARC. They literally sent me an ARC. That's legal, but whatever. And then I got A Dowry Blood because everybody has been talking about this, so I thought, why not? I got the They Never Learn, which is Dark Academia. I was gonna do a Dark Academia reading vlog in November, but then I got like depressed and a lot was going on, so I just opted out of that. I got Theft of Swords, which I heard of this because Elliot Brooks did a video where she talked about if these, like basically what she was doing, she was watching other people's do if you like this and you like this, and she was trying to figure out why the creators were saying that you would like this book, it, like, before they even said it. And so one of the people who she did, the guy did Mistborn in this book, and so I was like, oh, this book sounds really intriguing. I actually don't remember what it was about, but Monet from Life of Monet read this book. She did a reading vlog on it, and it just sounded so good. So I just decided to check it out. Because you know, I be reading my adult fantasy books, girl. So then the next 3 books I got from Target, obviously for the Black Friday deal, because they had a buy 3 get 1 free deal. So I bought 3 of the, I bought all 3 of these books for the purpose of one of them, basically. Now you're probably thinking, Wayna, why don't you just buy the one book? Because I wanted the deal. That's how they get you. So I got what else can I say? So, and also one of these books I already own, which I'll tell you why I have it. So I got They Never Learn. Oh, what? I got The Royals Next Door, which I had this on NetGalley, but I just never read it. So it's about these royals that live next door. I think it's inspired by like Meg and Harry. Yeah, it's like a bodyguard romance. I like bodyguard romances, but when I said that, I like bodyguard romances, and all of the bodyguard romances are usually where they fall in love with the person they're like being the bodyguard of. So I think this would be good reading it from the perspective of somebody who, I just like bodyguard romances because I love muscular men, so I don't really care about the logistics here. And then I got Normal People, which I am currently reading. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm enjoying it right now, but it's really making me mad that the book doesn't have any quotations. Like, I don't know what about it. I don't know why it's making me so mad, but the fact that it doesn't have any quotations around what they're saying, it's just really getting on my nerves. And then the last book I got is The Cruel Prince, which I'm only showing you guys this because it's a haul, and I'm going to be holding on to it for a while because it's a Christmas gift for my coworker. So my coworker Cassie, I talked about her in my reading vlog. She got me like a really good gift last year. So I already showed this one. Her gift isn't just one thing. Like it's a lot of like, you know, little stuff, because she got me a lot of good gifts last year. So I wanted to get her a good gift because she's like a really good friend. Like literally, like I can, like, when I say my work bestie, like she's literally one of my closest friends, but you know, we met through work. So been trying to get her to read, and she does want to read, so you know, I got her this book because Enemies to Lovers, I know she would love it. I know she would. So I got The Cruel Prince again as a gift, but I wanted to show you guys because I already talked about it in my vlog, so why not? And like I said, it's gonna be in my possession for a little bit. Okay, I don't want to put that there. And then I got Titanic, which I pre-ordered, and I forgot I pre-ordered. So yeah, this is the 3rd book in the Skyward series, so I am very excited about this one. But I don't know, like, I feel like I love the series, but it reads so like YA, which I mean it is YA, but it reads so YA to where I'm like, if the series got longer, I'm gonna continue the series, but if he puts like any more than like 5 books in the series, I'm gonna have to be done. And then all these novellas, like, it's good, but it's just very like YA-ish, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just not really into YA as much anymore. So, and then I also have The Library at Mount Char. Now this one is compared to The Umbrella Academy, which I did start this book, and I definitely can see how it's compared to The Umbrella Academy. Actually, I think this book was The Umbrella Academy before The Umbrella Academy was a thing. Now The Umbrella Academy, this book came out in 2015. The Umbrella Academy came out in like 2019, 2020. Now the graphic novel did come out before then, but who was reading that damn graphic novel? So I could say that The Umbrella Academy stole from this book, even though it has a graphic novel, but they're so similar. I don't know, the author had to have read the graphic novel because they're that similar. I just can't get over how similar they are. Like, literally, it's about the library, which it doesn't really make sense to me yet, but it's explained as like it's like aliens basically, and so they are all like these children, and they're taken to like live in a library or wherever they live, and the dad is like really strict, and each one of them have like their own specialty, and something different is happening every 2 chapters so far, so it's not like a straight timeline. I don't know, I'm really confused, and I haven't even made it that far. I made it a little bit further than chapter 2, but yeah, I guess you'll have to find out in my wrap up if I ever finish it. But yeah, that is it for this video. I'm gonna have to push my November TBR to December because I did not read anything in November because of my reading slump. So that's pretty much my December reading plans. If anybody like wanted to know, wanted to care, but I'm probably gonna end up reading a bunch of romances because I am just in my romance mood right now. Reading romances is what got me back out of my reading slump, which I wasn't really in a reading slump. I was just reading fan fiction. So it just made more sense to jump right into romance than like trying to read like a fantasy because romance and fan fiction are so like close to each other. But yeah, that is it for this video. Hopefully by my next one I have a new ring light. I have a new ring light because I don't want to film here ever again. But I'm so sorry for the location of this video. I hope that you liked it even though it was kind of like low quality. And I can't wait to see you guys in my next. Oh my god, do you guys want to see my cat? I've update on Apple if anybody cares. Apple finally came out. I had to like get her out with a cage, and then she was kind of upset with me, so she like hid downstairs for a day, and then she finally came back upstairs today, and she's really grown to like, she's getting more comfortable with me and everyone else in the house. So and I also have to get her, I got her a new collar. It comes in tomorrow because she took the other one off. I got her like 3 because I can already tell she's like taking these collars off. Bye. So anyways, this is Apple. Say hi, Apple. Her name is Apple Betty. She's so cute. I love her so much. She's my bestie. And she loves to be pet. But yes, okay, so now that is it for the video, and I'll see you guys in my next one.